Today in Guillermo's Cocina, we're going to make tacos al pastor. It's not the easiest thing in the world to make at home, but I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. This really comes down to the marinade, so let's get started with that. You need Achiote Paste. You're using half a block of that. You're going to have some Guajillo powder right here, some garlic powder going to go in. We have some cumin going in this. There's some paprika, and we have some Mexican ground oregano going in this. Very different than regular oregano. Cayenne pepper, some salt, a little bit of pepper is going to go in this, and that's the end of our dry ingredient. And now it's time for the wet ingredients. We've got apple cider vinegar and some pineapple juice. Of course, there's the full list of ingredients down in the description below. Now we have to mash this up and really mix this up. The Achiote Paste does not like to mash up very well. You're better off probably chopping it into little teeny pieces before you put it in here. I did not do that with this time, but you can. Maybe my box was a little bit older, but it was very, very dense. If you put this in a blender, it will sound like you dropped a rock in the blender. When that's done, this just needs to sit, and we can start working on the rest of this wonderful meal, which is going to consist of chopping up a pork shoulder roast. Now you can get the pork shoulder roast bone in or boneless. I do suggest getting the boneless because that bone is really hard to get to. We're just going to slice this off into about 1/4 inch slices, go all the way through the roast until you get basically to the end of this. Just keep slicing and slicing until you're all the way through it. And through the magic of a fast forward button, here we are at the end. That's perfect. Now, this is going to have to go into our marinade and soak for several hours in the fridge. This is going to give all that flavor and all of that into our pork before we put this in the oven and cook this off. Make sure you get everything fully mixed up. This has to really get in there. It's a messy job, but this is really the secret to this is this marinade. So you want to make sure you get it everywhere. Just cover it with some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. Now we have our pineapple. Pineapple is a very important part of al pastor. So we're going to just, basically chop up our pineapple. Take off the outside of it, take off the top and bottom. When that's fully cleaned up, make sure you got all the little spikes and everything off of it. We're just going to take a big block off the end of this. This is going to be our base for our stack because we're going to be stacking this in the oven like you would with a regular al pastor on the spit, but the vertical spit. This is pretty easy to do. We just take some skewers there. We have one for the bottom and one for the top. And now we need to start putting our pork on these skewers. This is not the funnest job in the world, but just keep stacking this. You want to try and keep the spacing on the skewers as even as possible as you go up. Once you've done this a couple of times, it's pretty easy to figure out, but it's a little weird at first. Just after you've done a few, you'll get the hang of it. This will give us all these beautiful layers like you would get on the normal, the vertical spit as you're roasting this. This is just kind of duplicating that, but it's a little bit trickier. They do sell an actual metal skewer for this, a base for this that is much easier. If you're going to make this a lot, I would definitely invest in one of those. They're not much. It's $30 or $40 maybe, something like that. But yeah, just keep stacking this and stacking away. And when you're done, you will have a beautiful stack of marinated pork. Any last stragglers, just throw them on wherever you can. Get the little bits on there. You don't want to really waste any of the meat. It's all delicious and it will all get used, so don't be afraid to just stick it in there someplace. Now we have to put our cap on. This is a piece of pineapple that's going to go on the top here. We want to use this to kind of lock the whole thing in place. Plus, as it cooks, all that juice is going to drip down and flavor the meat even more, and it's perfect. The only thing we have to do now is just chop off the top of our skewers so it fits in the oven. Yeah, it's going to cook in your oven 350 degrees for about an hour and a half. If it falls over, and it will fall over, You can just simply rotate this over so the cooked side is down and the soft side is up after about 45 minutes, and cook it for another 45 minutes after that, and it's perfect. Your al pastor is ready to go. We're just going to stand this back up so that it kind of mimics what it would look like on a shawarma. It's kind of funny here, it looks like a roast chicken kind of. But we're just going to take little slices off this like you would with a shawarma oven roaster, and just kind of peel off little bits. You want small pieces because that's the beauty of al pastor. It's got all these little bits to it. We're going to chop this up more as we go. We're going to set our pineapple off to the side and just keep shaving this thing down until you get basically a bunch of little pieces. It's cooked fully through. Unlike if you do this with a shawarma, you're going to have to keep cooking it as you shave it. You're only cooking the outside ½ inch at a time. This is fully cooked all the way through, so that's kind of handy. Once that's all chopped up, we're going to put this in a frying pan, get that wonderful, amazing crisp on this afterwards. It's going to go in our tacos, and we're going to just give it a little bit of that juice that it cooked in, that marinade, and just cook this down basically until the texture looks good. Again, the pork's already cooked, so we're just trying to make it really crispy and delicious at this point. But that's it. Now it's time to assemble. As you can see, I've got about a half dozen corn tortillas here that I've heated up, and we're just going to fill that up with our al pastor meat here, and then we're going to add a little guacamole because everyone loves guacamole. It's not traditional, but what the heck. The other thing we are going to put in here is pineapple. It is very traditional with this. We just diced up some of our fresh pineapple, load that up, and then we've got onions and cilantro. And after that, we've got a fairly untypical ingredient with this, but I like a little bit of salsa verde with this. And that's what's so great about cooking. We can make things the way we want it, the way we like it. And I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, you can hit the thumbs up down there, and if you subscribe, you'll know when my next video comes out. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.